Good morning. Gary McCarthy, Mayor of the City of Schenectady, and have the opportunity this year to be the President of the New York Conference of Mayors, municipal officials. And, my colleagues are here today, and we represent really all the communities across the state. And while we may be in Albany today, the agenda that we want to put forth in the partnership that we want to establish with our colleagues in the state legislature affects every community in this state. And that we want to send the message that we are looking for partnerships, that we're looking for a legislative agenda that reflects the needs of our communities, and that at the same time allows the state government to assist in the problems and opportunities that exist within our communities. That I look at who's here, you know, Sam Teresi from Jamestown, Bill Boland from Corning, Robert Thackman from East Syracuse, Roy McDougall from Governor, Rob Rollison from Poughkeepsie, Mike Spano from Yonkers, Frank Murray from Rockville Center, Dan Hall from Glens Falls, Ellen McNulty Ryan from Watervliet. You know, the list goes on. That we are here as friends, colleagues, and advocates for local government, that we understand the needs of our respective communities, and that we want the collective influence of this organization to be able to translate that message to legislative action in Albany in 2019. And with that, I'll introduce a good friend and the mayor of our host city, Mayor Kathy Sheehan from Albany.
Thank you very much, Mayor, and it is always a pleasure to get together with mayors from across the state. We have representatives here from villages, from cities, and yet we share a lot of the same issues. We still have to make sure that we pick up the garbage and that we have services in place to remove snow is one of the things that we're all thinking about now. And that requires resources. And I think you see that we have a group of mayors here who have really committed to improving our communities and the services that we all provide. And NYCOM is working on a new program that would build on what we currently do with the state to deliver services to all New Yorkers. We've gotten really good at becoming efficient, working together, sharing services, doing all that we can to ensure that we are responsible stewards of the scarce resources that we have. And so I think that because we have demonstrated this, one of the things that NYCOM is looking at is the creation of a new $100 million municipal investment initiative that would provide needs-based funding to cities, villages, and towns that would be distributed based on population, poverty level, the types of services that are provided, and the amount of tax-exempt property that exists within that municipality. And these resources would build on the kinds of shared services and economic development initiatives that municipalities have been doing for years by requiring recipients to develop a municipal sustainability strategy that includes multi-year budgeting plans, ongoing efforts to encourage economic growth, and collaborative work with regional partners to ensure that we're accomplishing the goals set by our regional economic development councils. So this is an effort that would support needed local services and improvements to communities while also embracing the initiatives that we have all undertaken over these last several years to demonstrate the efficiencies that we have been able to drive within our local governments, and to demonstrate how governments at the state and local levels can work together to make those positive impacts. So that is one of the initiatives that we are discussing here and that we will be pushing forward in this next upcoming legislative agenda. And now I am going, are you emceeing or I'm going to hand it off?
It's your city.
Okay. No. I am going to hand it off to Mayor Rich David from the City of Binghamton.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. My name is Rich David. I'm the mayor of the City of Binghamton and the second vice president of New York Conference of Mayors. I'd like to start off by thanking President McCarthy and our host mayor and the staff at NYCOM for gathering us here today for a very important topic. And if there's one item on our agenda that everybody should be able to rally around and support, it's the topic of infrastructure. And certainly we've been talking about this issue, the infrastructure issue, for the last several years. It remains one of the most critical needs for every municipal official. And fortunately, it's an issue the state has begun to recognize, and we've seen some movement and growth in that area. We've seen some sporadic and periodic increases in local highway funding, but it is essential that the CHIPS program funding be increased to keep this important resource coming on a recurring basis. In addition to that, as we talk about community development that leads to more pedestrian-friendly municipalities, NYCOM is advocating that a piece of this CHIPS funding be made available based on how many miles of sidewalk a municipality has, which is so important for making our communities more welcoming to pedestrians, especially those with disabilities. So I'll give you an example. For the city of Binghamton, we receive approximately $1.1 million on an annual basis of CHIPS funding, but some changes at the federal level has required a significant investment into the intersections for handicapped disability. So approximately $700,000 to $800,000 a year has to go into meeting the federal regulations. And if you're using your CHIPS money, that doesn't leave a lot of money left over for the actual reconstruction of the roadway. So it has to do with some coordination and some recognition of some mandates and factoring those in to determine the level of that municipalities receive. And obviously, we all have varying levels of sidewalks. So it's an important acknowledgement that we're hoping to make some progress on. The other piece of this is the need to address the unseen infrastructure that keeps our municipalities moving along. It's essential that we establish a water infrastructure program similar to CHIPS to provide a dedicated funding stream for these kinds of projects, and that we create a new emergency water infrastructure repair fund to keep up with those issues that can really grind a city or a village to a halt. And while it's great that we've seen some increases in CHIPS, any mayor here will tell you that the more expensive cost of reconstructing a road is the water and sewer costs underneath the roads. And typically that can range from 80% of the underground work is in water and sewer, and 20% is the actual roadway up top. So when our legislators in Albany talk about CHIPS money and money for roads, there are so many other costs that are not addressed in that conversation. And so we're really hoping to get into the weeds and really educate our legislators, because this is an area that we really believe that there's a true and sincere desire to build a consensus on. We've seen that progress and we want to build on it. Thank you. So now it's my pleasure to introduce the first Vice President of the New York Conference of Mayors, the Mayor of Freeport, Mr. Robert Kennedy.
Thank you. Thank you. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. First, I'd like to thank NYCOM, all its staff, and all the mayors and staff that have joined us up here today. It's important that we all get together and we focus on certain issues that we feel is important to all of the village, whether you're northwest, northeast, southeast, or southwest in New York. So I'm glad to see everybody here today. And one of the things I wanted to bring up was the fact that internet sales tax is so important. And it's important to all of the counties, the towns, the villages, and the cities. It must be addressed. And, you know, when NYCOM comes up with ideas of how to implement certain programs, it always comes up and says, well, how are you going to finance this? Well, this would be a great way, internet sales tax. If we could get some of that funds now and provide those funds to different villages and cities and towns that could subsidize infrastructure work that we just discussed, that we could use this money to subsidize and assist those brick and mortar buildings that are out there and providing sales tax to the village. The NYCOM organization is in favor of picking up this internet sales tax and equally distributing it among all of the villages. And I just would like to say also that the village of Freeport, although we want this internet sales tax, we have to make sure it's equally distributed among everybody. The village of Freeport and many villages do not receive any sales tax. In fact, we just brought up a litigation against the county that we're going to try to secure some of the sales tax. We want a fair and equitable distribution of sales tax to all of the villages. So whether you're the Northeast or Northwest or down in Freeport, Long Island, they're one of the things that we're moving forward to, collect that internet sales tax and distribute it equally among all the villages, cities, and towns. Thank you.
You know, even though our municipalities vary much in size and in demographics and in geography, one of the things that NYCOM helps us to do is to really focus on looking forward and into the future. And as we look into the future, even in just this legislative session, we expect the legislature and the governor to be attacking the issues of internet sales tax. That's going to impact all of our municipalities. We need to have a voice at the table. They're looking at legalization of marijuana. That is going to also drive revenue sources. It's going to impact our municipalities in various ways. We need to make sure that we have a seat at the table. As we look at sports gambling, we want to make sure that we have a seat at the table as some of these new revenue streams and opportunities are being discussed at the state level.